It takes a cold-blooded person to somebody holding a baby.
I think you went in there. I'm gonna take care of this situation. I'm gonna take care of people messing with Jenelle. People ain't gonna mess with my girl no more. She's not my girl. You may say that out loud, but you know in your heart too.
What were the rules?
Don't be out past, 12 o'clock at night. No smoking, no drinking, no partying, stuff like that.
This is Jenelle Porter. She might look and sound all sweet and innocent, but she's far from that. In 2012, she made her parents and boyfriend commit the most horrifying crime, but the method she used to convince them will leave you speechless. Let's take a look at the wild case of Jenelle Porter, the insecure catfish that killed her lover's family. Jenelle Lee Potter was born in 1981 to Marvin and Barbara Potter. Marvin, who is popularly known as Buddy, was a former Marine who served in Vietnam and reportedly also worked with the CIA, while Barbara was working with the multinational Hewlett-Packard Company. Jenelle had an older sister, Christy, and the two were raised in Pennsylvania before eventually moving to Mountain City, Tennessee in 2005. Growing up, Jenelle was kind of a weird kid who had trouble making friends and suffered from multiple health issues, including type 1 diabetes. This made her parents super overprotective of her and would not let her out of their sight.
What kind of person is she?
Good-natured, sweet person. She's not an angry person.
Naive, young, innocent?
Yes, very naive. She's young in her mind, more young than her age.
Janelle's sister, Christy, who's been estranged from the family, said in an interview their parents exaggerated Janelle's health and learning problems. Instead of being herself, my parents tried to make her fit in. They also, in the same breath, would say how different she was, and then she became unable to make friends normally. So by the time she was 30, Jenelle was still living and depending on her parents, who still kept a tight leash on her. She could not get a job, drive, or even have a boyfriend.
What were the rules?
Don't be out past, 12 o'clock at night. No smoking, no drinking, no partying, stuff like that.
Jenelle also didn't have friends and spent most of her time on social media trying to make a connection with random people. She was particularly very active on Facebook, where her profile read, "I'm a very sweet, caring person, I love life, and I love to make others laugh." Not surprisingly, Janelle's parents also had access to this.
Did your parents have access to your Facebook page? Did they monitor it?
Yes.
A woman in your late 20s and your parents have access to your Facebook page?
Well,
at one time, Jenelle did manage to make one friend, a local pharmacy clerk by the name of Tracy Greenwell.
We felt sorry for Jenelle. She was sheltered, kind of sick and stuff. She gave me her phone number and I started calling her.
The two became fast friends and started hanging out. Tracy would even introduce her to some of her other friends, including her brother, 36-year-old Billy Payne. Now, Jenelle had a life and friends and was no longer spending most of her life on the computer. She was going to the mall and doing fun outdoor activities like rock climbing. She had reportedly even started developing a crush on Tracy's brother, Billy.
Did you ever get the impression that maybe she liked Billy?
That's what everybody says. She fell in love with Bill, but I still don't say it like that.
The problem was, Billy was already in a relationship with his long-term girlfriend, 23-year-old Billie Jean. The two were even living together and had a 7-month-old child, Tyler. Tracy would introduce Jenelle to her cousin, Jamie Curd, and the two would quickly start dating. Now, remember, though she was an adult, Jenelle wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend, so her relationship with Jamie had to be kept under wraps. But since Jamie was handy with computers, Janelle's parents would often invite him over to the house to fix the family computer, and the two lovebirds would then get a chance to see each other. They would also secretly see each other outside the house, with Jamie even buying Jenelle a phone, so they could communicate without the parents knowing. But despite her relationship with Jamie, Jenelle was still pining for Billy, and this would make her do something completely unthinkable. Although Janelle's social life seemed to be going great, her Facebook page was not. She had started receiving mean comments and messages from anonymous trolls who even threatened to harm her.
What kinds of things were people saying about you?
just that I was a bad person. I was horrible. Threatened to get raped.
Must have been pretty scary.
Yes.
Obviously terrified, Jenelle went and told her mom about it, who then tried to get the cyberbullies to stop harassing her daughter.
I remember I wrote, "Please do not write on Janelle's Facebook. I begged them, please don't do this.
When asked who she thought was behind the mean posts, Jenelle did not hesitate to mention Billie Jean. Yeah, the same Billie Jean who was in a long-term relationship with Billy Payne. Turns out, Jenelle didn't like her.
Oh, she hated her.
From the get-go.
She'd call her all kinds of bad names.
According to Jenelle, Billie Jean was jealous of her because she was pretty and could take away her boyfriend, Billy Payne. And that's why she wrote those comments on her Facebook. What? Clearly, the only one jealous here is Jenelle. She even went as far as wishing death on Billie Jean and her young family.
That she wished that Bill and Billie Jean and that damn baby would die.
This started a major online feud with Jenelle and her boyfriend Jamie on one side and Bill and Billie Jean on the other. Keep in mind that Jamie was Bill's cousin, so he actually took Jenelle's side over his family. Jenelle, all along, insisted that she was the real victim.
She was always saying that somebody was mad at her, somebody hated her, somebody wanted to kill her.
Soon, these virtual feuds started to spill over into the real world.
And they're trying to set me up, but I don't like this because I'm very sick.
They were wanting to blow up my dad's truck, throwing rocks at the house.
One time, Jenelle's mom called the police after a rock bearing Billy and Billie Jean's names appeared in their front yard. After this incident, both couples unfriended each other on Facebook. But instead of going their separate ways and moving on with their lives, one of the couples would make some drastic measures that would leave the whole town reeling with shock.
Johnson County 911. I need a name was bad.
On January 31st, 2012, at around 10:30 a.m., a friend of Bill and Billie Jean decided to drop by the couple's house to check on them. But what she found left her completely traumatized.
There's a baby involved. He don't look right.
Bill and Billie Jean were found dead in their home with single bullet wounds to their heads. Bill was lying in bed and also had his throat cut, while Billie Jean was on the floor in the nursery, still holding her baby.
He's in one room, she's in the other, right playpen. It kind of looks like she's trying to get to her baby. So you can tell by looking at their faces, they're swelled, they're black and blue.
Thankfully, the 7-month-old baby was unharmed. But what kind of monster would gun down someone holding a baby?
I think it takes a cold-blooded person by holding a baby.
This scene was clean to clean. There were no shell casings, no fingerprints, no DNA, nothing. It was clear to the police that the killer was a professional.
It looked like a hit.
Like a contract.
Right.
But why would someone put a hit on this young couple? Being a small town, everyone knew that the only person who had issues with the couple was none other than Jenelle. So officers went to the Potter's home to interview Jenelle and her parents.
Got lost with the Tennessee girl.
Oh, okay, nice to meet you.
What we're doing right now is investigating a double homicide. Very serious matter.
From the onset, Jenelle's dad started getting defensive.
Everybody always points finger at us for something.
Oh, no, there ain't nobody pointing their finger.
Janelle was sympathetic about the murders, saying she didn't want any harm to come to the young family.
Do you know of anybody that would hurt them, want to hurt them?
No, actually, I don't. I feel bad about the situation because I didn't want no harm on them.
Notice how sweet and innocent Jenelle sounds? If investigators didn't know better, they would have actually believed her. She went on to make herself appear to be the victim as she described how the couple had been harassing her.
They've been harassing me in my driveway, on our property, and then yesterday morning when I got on Facebook is when I found out. And, I mean, I'm sorry it happened, but I mean, that's all I can tell you is they have been harassing the living crap out of me.
Why would they be harassing?
It came out to be a jealousy thing. They said I was too pretty.
And then investigators asked her about her relationship with Jamie Curd. Yep, she thought no one knew about that.
Who's Jamie?
He's just a friend. We've been friends for years.
He's trying to about that.
Yeah.
He's friend to all of us, to me.
Looks like her parents are still clueless about the true nature of Jenelle and Jamie's relationship.
Jamie kind of like your boyfriend?
No. He's just a really good friend.
Does he want to be your boyfriend?
Not that I love.
But the detectives were not as easily fooled and decided to bring Jamie in for questioning to see if he knew something about the murders. Jamie denied knowing anything about who killed Bill and Billie Jean, but when a polygraph was taken, he failed. What was he hiding? Could he be the killer?
I think you went in there. I'm going to take care of the situation. I'm going take care of people messing with Janelle. People ain't gonna mess with my girl no more. She's not my girl. You may say that out loud, but you know in your heart to do.
At this point, investigators thought that they had their guy. But then, Jamie would say something that would bring a completely new and bizarre twist to the case that shocked even the investigators.
Is the CIA here?
CIA? No. No.
Why would Jamie ask such a strange question? The detectives were curious to find out.
Why did you ask about the CIA?
Because he says he works for him.
Turns out, Jamie had been texting with a man named Chris, who told him that he worked for the CIA and that it was his job to protect Jenelle from her enemies. Why would the CIA be concerned about Jenelle or who she was feuding with? It just didn't make any sense. As investigators continued to press him for answers, Jamie finally broke and told them that he and Janelle's dad, Buddy, were the ones who killed Bill and Billie Jean. Buddy pulled the trigger and Jamie was the lookout, but according to Jamie, it wasn't their fault. Chris asked them to do it.
Who? Buddy?
Following this confession, the detectives had Jamie call Buddy to get a confession on tape.
Fingers. Oh, gee, Christmas. You got rid of everything because it's forbidden, didn't you? Okay. That makes me feel a lot better.
When Buddy was brought in for questioning, he at first denied that he had anything to do with the murders.
I'm not going to tell you I did something I didn't do.
But as detectives continued to press him, he eventually caved and admitted everything.
Ever since all this started, I've had my life threatened. My wife has been threatened. They've threatened to take Janelle, her head off.
In an effort to get a full confession, investigators made Buddy call his wife Barbara as they listened in.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Before you find out from somebody else, I want you to know I was involved in it and I did it.
What?
Some of it.
After this confession, law enforcement officers raided the Potters' home, where they seized an arsenal of weapons. Creepily enough, there were also pictures of Bill, Billie Jean, and their friends printed in the family's living room. Talk about obsession. Barbara was caught red-handed ripping up some of the pictures in an attempt to conceal them from investigators. The police also seized other items, including the family computer from the home. In Marvin's truck, the authorities discovered shredded emails. An agent meticulously reconstructed over 100 of what appeared to be thousands of emails sent to the Potters by the CIA Chris guy, warning them that Billy and Billie Jean were plotting to kill Janelle. Important to note, these emails started around the same time Billy and Billie Jean got engaged. How convenient, right?
It appeared that there was some type of conspiracy here. They kept referring to a guy named Chris, that's supposedly a CIA operative or something.
Going back a little bit, Janelle would tell Jamie about Chris, who she described as a family friend and someone she viewed as a brother, and that he worked in the CIA. Janelle even added a Chris Potter as her brother on Facebook. Chris would even post threats to Billy and Billie Jean from Janelle's own account. Yeah. After seeing the online bullying Janelle had gone through, the Chris guy apparently got in touch with Janelle's parents and loyal boyfriend, Jamie, and convinced them that Janelle was in real danger, and Billy and Billie Jean had to die. From the emails, Barbara was just as eager, stating that she was 100% behind what happens. Chris got particularly close with Barbara, who said that she thought of him as a son. Yeah. A son she had never met or knew anything about other than what he told them via email. How naive, right? Chris even offered to get Marvin a job at the CIA. Mind you, no one had ever met the guy or even talked to him on the phone. All communications were done via email, yet they trusted him completely. In the emails, Chris claimed to have surveillance on Billy and Billie Jean, and he had proof that they were plotting on harming Janelle. He urged the parents to do something before it was too late. In one email, Chris informed the parents that he could kill Billy and Billie Jean, but he was out of town on some assignment. It was therefore up to the Potters to go ahead and put Bill and Billie Jean down for good. Chris also communicated with Jamie, telling him no one deserved what Jenelle was going through. Anywho, being the overprotective parents they were and feeling they were getting no help from the police, Barbara and Marvin did what would change the Potters' lives forever. Marvin and Jamie broke into Billy and Billie Jean's home and killed them in cold blood. Okay, it was Marvin who did the killing. Jamie apparently just accompanied him. Chris had convinced Barbara to get her husband to commit the murders, which was so easy since Marvin loved guns. But now, here comes the real twist. When investigators traced the IP address of Chris's emails, guess where it traced back to? Yes, the Potters' home computer. Turns out, Chris had been Jenelle the entire time. She literally catfished her own parents and boyfriend and convinced them to kill on her behalf without picking a weapon herself. Wow.
Social media allowed Jenelle Porter was to be someone that she wasn't. When she invented Chris, she could assume a different identity and be as hateful as she wanted to be.
Jenelle, her mom Barbara, and her dad were found guilty of double murder and are serving 2 life sentences. Jamie took a plea deal and got 25 years in prison for his role in the murders. What do you think about what Jenelle did? Let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more.